In this topic, we will be discussing about the evolution, the source of novelty. We have discussed in detail when we were discussing about the paleontology, about the evolution. And we have discussed that how the evolution was studied by the Darwin and all the other scientists who were contemporary of his age. But in here we will be discussing about only those ideas which are related to the biogeography. So the sympatry versus allopatry. So these are the two ideas in which the two species evolve, but how they evolve differently in terms of their geographical location. So sympatry is the initial interbreeding population that splits into two or more distinct species sharing a common range, exemplifies the sympatric speciation, and the example of it is Darwin's finches and their beak sizes. So the sympatry means that those species are living in the same geographical area, but still they are going to evolve into different species. Why does this happen? Because when they are not evolving into the different direction, they will compete with each other, and they can, we have discussed this already, that the organism don't like to go into the competition. It is expensive process, so they will evolve away from each other. They will change their niches, and this is called sympatric speciation. Although they are living at the same places in the same island, but they are having, in case of Darwin's finches, they are living in the same island, but they have evolved their different beak sizes, which has resulted into the different niches, and now they are not competing anymore, but originally they are from one common ancestor. So allopatric speciation also refers to as geographical speciation. It is a mode of speciation that occurs when biological population of the same species become isolated from each other. So it is quite common, right? So in case of finches, the finches which were living in different islands, right? So in case of sympatry, these were the finches that were living in the same island. But in this case, the finches which were living on the different island, or any species which were originally living on the same island, the island had some separation, maybe become two islands, or two geographical spaces were formed. One river, changed the location, and it divided the whole area into two. Now these two areas will have the different populations, and those two populations will evolve into different species. So now we have discussed about that what are the problems in defining the species. There is a great variety of definition of species which focus on variety of different aspects of the organism. So let's first consider what type of data are normally the concern of a biogeographer. So the data that biogeographer depend on upon for the defining of the species, that is, for example, it is reproductive isolation. So the species is a group of natural population whose member can all breed together to produce fertile offspring. So this is the commonest definition that a biogeographic also uses, but this is a biological species concept. And then there is the ecological species concept. It arises from the organism's need to find its own place in a natural world. So it says that the organism which has found its own niche in its own space in the world, it is a particular species. So in the face of competition from other organisms, it must develop a set of characteristics that give it an advantage over those competitors, and in this way it is ecologically makes itself a new species. So, for a scientific definition reflects the nature and detail of the information available at the time. So, across the whole history of the species, we know that the different knowledge about the genetic, ecological nature, and population structure of organism has changed. And as you know, the evolution of knowledge is changing, the definition of the species is also changing. So definition of species have changed over time because the knowledge about the genetic, ecological nature and population structure of the species that we observe is also changing. So all that knowledge changing also changes the definition of the species as well.